What's cool is that all this agent orchestration is happening right in front of your eyes. It's not happening in some black box. And it has created a well designed PDF that is on brand with the colors, with the font. Everything is automatically created. So feels like magic because you haven't done the work of actually sitting and creating this. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. This is Amit, and today we are looking at AI agents orchestration with paperclip.ing. I am going to create a fictitious product, ask my paperclip CEO to hire a bunch of talent to deploy this product, and we're going to see how far we can get with this. So let's get started. So before we begin, let's test a few things first. I want to check my usage. So let's go to my Claude, go to our usage and make sure we are at 0% usage currently. And so I'm going to go to Paperclip. And the idea is that I want to start a net new company. And this company is going to be me creating a digital product for Paperclip. And this isn't a real product, but I'm just showing you how I would go about doing this. Let's see how far we can take this. I want to create the product. I want to create a HTML landing page. I can figure out later how to deploy it. And I want to have some copy for this product that can be a Facebook ads copy so I can promote the product. Then I want to essentially set up the product itself, which would be using my previous video that I'll link to if you haven't checked it out yet on how I created AI agents with Paperclip. So using that previous video, we're going to create a PDF guide on step-by-step instructions on how to set it up. This will be like a super low dollar offer that no one would have to think twice, maybe like $10. So a $10 PDF. And that's the goal. We want to set it up. Typically, how I would do this is I would talk to ChatGPT to create the landing page copy. Then I would build the landing page in Lovable. Then I would go back and forth in Lovable, burn a bunch of credits for my prompts to get that landing page to a working prototype. And then from there, I would then create Facebook ad copy, go back to ChatGPT, have it do all of that. And then I would start running Facebook ads. Now, what if I could just do all of that with the CEO in charge and see how many Claude tokens we burn in the process? If you haven't set up Paperclip yet, go to their GitHub page, install it, get running with it. This is their dashboard. And I will also link to my previous video that shows you this step-by-step process. I'm going to skip that step. And what I can do is I'm going to create a new company. Let's call this Learn Paperclip. The goal of this company is to create a low dollar offer to help people learn how to use Paperclip. All right, so we have our company name, we have our company mission. Next, we're going to use, so there are other agents available here. So you have your Gemini CLI, Codex, Open Code Cursor, and then OpenClaw Gateway is, it says configure OpenClaw within the app. So you can do that as well. The first agent is going to be our CEO. Now we want to figure out where is this going to be stored locally on your machine. For that, I'm going to open up my local folders and then create a net new folder for this install. All right, so I have my folder here, Paperclip PDF product. I'm going to right click and I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to get the path name from here. Let's go back and paste it. And then model, we'll just choose default for now. Let's test. All right, so our adapter environment check has passed. Let's go ahead and hit next. So this is your CEO heartbeat. And then here's the description for the CEO heartbeat. And you can go and look at my first video or just go to this website to look at how to set this all up. For now, I'm just going to hit next and we are ready to launch. So it's going to open up the first ticket for itself and you will see it's going here doing some work. This is happening, launching Paperclip, skills completed, and it's going to go do a bunch of things here that we can actually go and look at the runs to see what it's doing right here. And this run, once complete, will onboard your CEO, and then you can continue to onboard other people to your AI agents. So it's an agentic AI run company, and you are the board of directors and you approve every single hire. And your CEO's job is to hire these people. So while that's happening, we are going to go to Claude. And within Claude, I'm going to do some of the pre-work of setting up this company so that we don't have to do all of that here and we save our tokens. So I'm in Claude. What I have done here is I've fed it two transcripts of two videos by Aaron, and shout out to Aaron for creating these two videos. I'll link to these as well. Check them out. Great videos on how to use Paperclip. So I fed Claude those transcripts and I said, based on those transcripts, create a best practices markdown file. It's kind of gone through the YouTube video, gone through the transcript, and then given me the high level gist of what I need to do when I'm setting up Paperclip. Now, next, what I want to do is I want to tell Claude that this is the company that I'm setting up. What are the AI agents I'm going to need for this company? All right, now that you know the base architecture of how Paperclip works, help me figure out, other than the CEO, who else will I need? I'm trying to launch a digital product, and that product is going to be a super low dollar PDF, maybe like $10, to help people set up Paperclip with step-by-step instructions. Who would I need to hire? Because I need a website for this. I already have the CEO hired in Paperclip. So now I need to give CEO a bunch of tasks to hire these other agents to help me bring this PDF product to life. My goal is to run Facebook ads to sell this PDF product, or potentially Reddit ads, because that seems to be where most people hang out, whether it's in the OpenClaw subreddit or something similar. So help me figure out based on this best practices that you already read. All right, so we have our prompt to Claude. While Claude is doing its thing, let's go back here. So we have spent 82 cents and looks like we have a message in our inbox that our heartbeat was complete. So the CEO has set up the heartbeat. Here's what the roadmap looks like. So phase one is foundation week, set up the project structure and tooling, define the product scope. What does the PDF cover? Who's the target audience? Pricing, create content outline, set up generation. Phase two, content creation, write core content, write more content, etc., etc., etc. Polish and design, which is week four. Product polish, design PDF layout, add tables, internal review, create landing page or sales copy, then launch it. Payment mechanisms, it's already figured out. Gumroad, Stripe, etc. Launch MVP, collect feedback, price point, 9 to 29 for a digital product distribution. Gumroad, on-site marketplace, scope, beginner only or advanced topics. Perfect. So the CEO has figured all of that out. And then the next thing we want to do is hire this founding engineer who will build and ship the PDF learning product, owns the implementation, infrastructure, and deployment. Before I approve this, let's go over and see what's happening here. So we are now at 2% usage, and I'm guessing that's what equates to that amount spent, because I don't know where on this dashboard this 82 cents is coming from. So if I look here, it says 8,400 tokens were output, whereas the input was 789. And I'm guessing that's what equating to that amount. All right, now before I go and approve this hire, let me check back with Claude. So let's try to put this side by side. All right, Claude Code has replied back, and this is what I'm going to need. I'm going to need the technical writer, the head of design, the web developer, a copywriter, and a paid social specialist, and a head of support. And then it says this is the hiring order. What's interesting is, based on Aaron's video, here's a really good best practice. So thank you, Aaron Prince, for this. We have to remind the CEO that do not execute any of the tasks yourself. Hire the appropriate agents and delegate through issues. That will save you a few back and forth. And then it said, want me to draft the actual CEO task? I said, sure. So here's the task for this, for your CEO. Let's copy and paste this. Launch task, $10 paperclip product. Your role, you're the CEO, your job is to hire. Okay, what are we building? We are building this. The deliverable payment, use Gumroad. Okay. And then we have the agents to hire, which is our technical writer, head of design, copywriter, web developer, paid social, head of marketing, and then head of support. I don't think we need support in the beginning. I think we can skip the head of support. And of course, this will be different for you and your company. So feed as much information to Claude about your company to figure out how this should work. All right, every agent you hire must have a full team roster included in their heartbeat so they know who the other agents are. Do not execute tasks yourself, blah, blah, blah. All right, perfect. So let's copy this. And I saw some notes. A few notes before you paste it in. Make sure your docs folder has best practices and ideally the transcripts in it so the technical writer has real source material to pull from. If you have any brand preferences, put it there. So I don't have the best practices markdown. Let me ask it to give it to me. Give me the best practices markdown file. I don't have it. All right, so I have the best practices markdown now. We'll save it in our CEO's folder here. Now, before I go and give my CEO a task, what I want to do is I want to edit this markdown. I think because there were some things here that I'm not too sure about, which was this last one. Be lazy on purpose. Before doing anything manually, ask Claude, can you do it? So this was just Aaron's thing to his audience. Doesn't necessarily need to go in the CEO's manifesto, so to say. So we can remove that. Can remove some of these points. I don't think these are necessary. All right, I'm going to pause this video, go through this, make sure this makes sense for my PDF product, and then we'll resume. All right, we are ready to rock and roll. But before we do, I have asked Claude to do a few things. One was to update the agents.md file that Paperclip gives you out of the box when you do a new install. And what I did is I said, based on best practices that you know from feeding you the transcript, staying in this chat context, and also what's mentioned on the GitHub page, let's update the agents.md file, and I attach the agents.md file for it to update. Claude did it, gave me all this stuff. Now I'm going to copy this, go back to my CEO's folder, go to the agents.md, open that, and then we can edit it. All right, so we have updated the agents.md file. And of course, make sure you read all of this or add your own instructions in here. Let's just save this. Perfect. And then we also have our best practices.md file right here. So that's all set to go. Now we are good to give that agent its first task. So which was right here. Let's copy this one. And now I can go into my project folder. I'm going to go to inbox and reject this founding engineer hire for now. And let's go to issues, create a new issue. And our issue task is launch task, $10 paperclip setup PDF. Then we'll paste the rest of the stuff in here. Now, one thing that I didn't need in here is our support person. So I'm going to remove that for now. So we don't need head of support. Let's save some money and we should be good with everything else. I'm going to assign this to the CEO. And with that, let's see what happens. We're ready to create the issue. So once you have created an issue, you can go to your dashboard and watch that issue live. So we already did this first one, which was creating the CEO's heartbeat. Now is issue number 2. And this one, if I click on it, I can see the issue. And then if I go back to dashboard, you can see its live activity happening. So we'll give it some time, let it figure out what it needs to do as the next step. Keep track of our Claude consumption. I'm going to pause this video, come back once this task is complete. But before I go, one quick thing that I want to point out is if you click this little link, it's going to open up the task and you can go in here and see it in real time. And same thing with the dashboard, you can keep track of it. So let's pause this, wait for the CEO to run this task, and we will resume. The CEO is hard at work. And what's interesting is I was reading through the transcript here, and you can see the task is still running. However, what I noticed is it tries to reference the previous completed task. So there might be some additional token usage happening here. The other thing I noticed is that my agents.md directions said read docs, but docs doesn't exist. So that was my bad that I did not follow my own instructions and didn't give it a docs file to read. That being said, you can see that our team has now been hired. So if I go to my inbox, I now have all of these people to approve, and then each of these should be given tasks by the CEO. So let's go ahead and approve all of them. So here's our marketing officer. Now, I wish there was a approve all button in here, but maybe that's coming soon. So I'm just going to approve all of these one at a time. Let's go to my inbox. Okay, I think that should be the entire team. So now that everyone is approved, looks like another task has kicked off. Oh, looks like we have some errors here. No such file, agents MD, etc., etc. Let's go to inbox and look at unread. All right, so we're running into some errors. The CEO is, my guess is assigning tasks, and that's where maybe we are running into some errors. So again, head of design run failed as well. We can see what happened here. And then based on whatever that error is, I typically just invoke Gemini right inside Google Chrome, ask about the error, and then try to fix it. If I go back to issues, I can see some of the tasks that have been created, and you can look at this in board view. And you can see that these tasks are automatically getting created for different people on your team. So while that's happening, all of this can concurrently happen. Let me just go here and refresh my usage to show you what's the usage. Like we started with 0% usage, we are at 6% now. And for that 6% usage, we have hired a bunch of different agents, each with its own dedicated task. And if you want to see those tasks, you can see right now the CEO's task is in progress, and these are all part of the backlog. So if I look at the CMO's task, this one says create launch plan and coordinate launch sequence. And it's supposed to do all of that, but we got the failures. So now I need to investigate why these failures are happening and what I need to do to fix them. So you can see in my inbox, I have a bunch of failures. Let's go step by step and look at these failures. If I open this first one, here's my failure, and I can invoke Gemini and ask it for feedback. Help me troubleshoot this error. So according to Google, basically this file does not exist. And I guess I should have just looked, but it's so easy to just go and ask, especially because I'm not used to these errors. And it looks like that's pretty much the same here, that none of these files exist. So what we can do is we can open up the directory, and here's all of our new hires. So if I look at the CMO, or actually the first one was the technical writer, so we can go there. So I see the agents.md. Based on Gemini's response to me, what I think might be happening is when all of these agents were hired, Paperclip automatically creates an agents.md file for each of the agents. So if I look at the technical writer, here's the agents.md file, and I can check it out. This should automatically have the directive given to it by Paperclip's CEO or my company's CEO during setup. Now, what I think happened is that the path to that file was incorrect. So if I right click, copy the path, I can go in configuration and paste it. So right now I've pasted it. And once I did paste it, I tried to rerun, and that run has been in progress. So I want to try that with all of the failed ones and see if that works. So for that, I just need to go to each and every one of them. So this is our CMO, and you can see the agent instruction file currently points to agents CMO and then agents.md. However, I need to get the correct path name, paste it here and save it, because it needs to know that it's living inside of this Paperclip PDF folder. So we did that. Now let's do the same for our web developer. I already did that. All right, did that for my head of design. And then finally, I need to do that for my paid social person / agent. Are these persons? I don't know. All right, so we are still getting some error. Looks like this run failed again just now. And let's see what the problem is this time. At least this time it's a different error message and not the same one. There's an issue with the selected Claude haiku. It may not exist or may not have the access to run a model picked to a different model. Okay, let's go and change the model to our default model for now. Then go and retry the run. And while that run is happening, I will also go and change all the other models to default for now. And this might be something that I need to fix later. So I think all of these agents should now have a default model. Let's just confirm that. Perfect. So all the agents should now have a default model. And now if we go and look at this one, looks like it's running. And now our tasks are being assigned. So now our copywriter has a task. So now I can go back to the dashboard and look at all of the tasks. We have 1 task in progress. We have 7 agents that we have enabled. And then if we go to issues, we can see that this one was complete, right? The Paperclip setup guide. Now the landing page, sales copy, and thank you page is being done. So while that's being done, we can go and look at what happened here. So it says the manuscript was completed and delivered to the manuscripts.md for this agent. And that was our technical writing agent. So let's go to technical writer. Nothing is there, but if I go to content, I can see the manuscript right here. So let's go ahead and open this. All right, here's our manuscript. What is Paperclip and who is it for? Paperclip is not another AI chat tool. It's a control panel for running an entire AI-powered company. Who is this for? The core insight, etc., etc. All right, this is very thorough. So I'll have to give it a read and make sure it's everything that it says it is. So while that's happening, in our issues, our landing page copy has now been completed. Now the question is, since the landing page copy has been completed, has the next task been handed over to the next agent? All right, so both deliverables written and ready for handoff, which was landing page copy, and then the thank you page copy. Perfect. Head of design copy is ready for layout coordination. Landing page sections are structured. Web developer, both files are ready for implementation. And in our inbox, we have 2 messages. And those are the 2 failed runs for the head of design and the CMO. So we can actually retry them. Since we changed the agents.md path name, those should now be successful. And while those runs are happening, we can always go to our dashboard and look at our cost. So $3.94 is our cost. And if I go and refresh, our token usage has jumped from 0% to 9%. Now, what's cool is that all this agent orchestration is happening right in front of your eyes. It's not happening in some black box, so you get to see exactly what's going on. And you can also connect your OpenClaw agent. So if you go to your settings, you can generate this OpenClaw invite prompt. There are explicit directions in here for your OpenClaw. So you would copy this, you would paste it in your OpenClaw. So now if I go back to my dashboard, I can see 2 tasks are concurrently in progress, which is the head of design is designing the landing page layout and visual specs. And then the chief marketing officer is creating the launch plan and coordinating the launch sequence. While that's happening, what I wanted to let you know is as your agents perform these tasks, we have specified in the agents.md file some rules of engagement, right? And one of them is the heartbeat rule. But just to err on the side of caution, if you're just doing this for playing around, I would highly recommend that you go and let me open one of the previous projects to show you. You go and pause all your agents so that they don't keep costing you tokens just for that heartbeat. So keep that in mind. Just go and pause your agents if you're not using them, or tell your CEO, hey, any agents that don't have any tasks, go ahead and pause them because I don't want to burn tokens on the heartbeat. Because each heartbeat is going to cost you tokens. And if the heartbeats run every hour, and if I have 7 agents, that's 7 heartbeats an hour times 24, that adds up. I don't want to do math in public, but that's a lot of heartbeats. And that's just for token usage that you're burning because there are no tasks assigned to them. All right, while I was gabbing away, I see in my inbox something has happened. So in my unread, I can see that LEA 5 was completed, which is the design landing page layout and visual specs. And it under the design index.html file. This is exciting. Let's go check it out. All right, you can see this is actually now filling with lots more stuff. So here's our design file. So let's see what this landing page looks like. Set up your AI agent company in one afternoon. Not bad out of the box. It's not a killer website, but this is with minimal direction on what this website should look like. I would definitely refine this and maybe even design this in Google Stitch and then connect it all together. But this at least gives you an idea of what your AI agents are capable of doing. The more context you give them, the better they're going to perform. This was a fictitious product for a fictitious company that does not exist. If I had all of the documentation of my actual company, I'm sure the results would be very different. All right, so now that design layout is done, let's go back and look at our create launch plan, which is with the CMO. And the CMO says the launch plan has been created at the marketing launch plan.md. So we can look at marketing launch plan.md, and looks like this is a very comprehensive launch plan for this PDF, how to set up Paperclip AI, a 12-chapter PDF guide. Price is $10, impulse buy, absolutely, platform Gumroad, ad channels, Facebook ad, Reddit ads, funnel ads, landing page, Gumroad purchase, PDF delivery, thank you page. And then we have timelines and milestones. And then you can see some are complete, some are in progress, some are blocked by other issues that first need to be completed. All right. And then we also have the quality review notes at the end. It reviewed the manuscript. It was 12 chapters, well structured, beginner friendly, covers all required topics, consistent with product promise on landing page copy. It reviewed that as well. Also reviewed the thank you page copy. And this is pretty cool how it's reviewing other agents' works and then commenting on that work. Product name is consistent across all surfaces, how to set up Paperclip AI. Price is consistent, tone is consistent, and funnel messaging is coherent. Perfect. Now we still have a few more tasks left. So let's go to our issues and see what's happening now. Now the CEO is creating the launch plan and coordinating launch sequence. My guess is that after this is done, it's going to okay, here we go. Next steps. All right, so in here, it's saying current pipeline status is this. Then we have quality review findings. Then we have our next steps, which is quality review of 5 and 6. Review ad copy variants once LEA 8 is done, and then final pre-launch QA before go live. Leaving this task in progress, quality review phase depends on other agents completing their work. Awesome. What we need to do is make sure that these 3 are getting done. So let's start with this one. I'm just going to try to move all of them to in progress and see what happens. So as soon as I drag them to in progress, you can see that now this has started running. And within this, it's using some skills. So check my current assignments and pending tasks. It's checking that. It's looking at the base directory, and then it's running all this authentication, everything to figure out what is this task that's been assigned to this agent. And here we have an error, which is parallel tool called, the manuscript is ready. I need to design and produce the final PDF. The product directory needs to be created. Let me check team rosters and other directories. So it's going off, doing its thing. Our usage is increasing. We went from 0% to 12% usage because we're also running a bunch of concurrent tasks. But you can see that this company is now being formed as I'm continuing to assign all these different tasks. All right, we have issues being assigned, issues being blocked. While all of this is happening, let me show you a few things. One is the usage. So we are at about 17% usage. Now, what's interesting about Paperclip is this is similar to Cowork or any other AI agents where all the work is happening inside Claude code. And technically, you could do all of this inside Claude code. What's cool about Paperclip is it gives you the UI to do it. Now, to show you how all of this is happening inside Claude code is I have installed a plugin on top of Claude in their CLI, which is the command line interface called Claude Mem. So if I go to Claude Mem, I can see every single prompt that Paperclip is sending to Claude. So Paperclip is basically doing the work for you, where you're defining the high-level goals, you're hiring this so-called agents, and Paperclip is on the back end doing all the work for you. So you can see these are all the prompts. This is everything that Paperclip is sending to Claude and how Claude is responding. And if you want to check this out, just go to Claude Mem. I believe it's on GitHub. I'll put that link in the description. Search for Claude Mem and GitHub, download it. Helps with context for your Claude and saves you a ton of tokens. So anytime I start a new Claude session, I always make sure that Claude Mem is running so that it can keep track of all of my chat history. That being said, we can go and check some of these things in our finders. I also saw that under marketing, there's Facebook ads and Reddit ads in here. Then under templates, under product, we have the PDF template. So let's go look at that PDF template. Here's our PDF on how to set up Paperclip. Now, this is basically the product. And I'll link to this product. I'm not charging anyone $10 for it. It's for free. So check it out. But the product was essentially created by me giving it the resources of my own video and from GitHub how to set up Paperclip. And it has created a well-designed PDF that is on brand with the colors, with the font. Everything is automatically created. So feels like magic because you haven't done the work of actually sitting and creating this. So the PDF is created. And then if we go back to our folder, we earlier looked at the website. So that's already created. Now I will say that the PDF and the website have different colors. So that's where it must have messed up. And that's my job to provide it with a style reference with my branding guide so it stays on point. Now, ideally, what we can do is take our landing page copy and our thank you page copy, feed it to Claude and ask it to generate a website that you can deploy on Vercel, or you can just use Lovable or your favorite vibe coding tool. What I want to check out is the ads. So we can look at one of these Facebook ads and see what that copy looks like. Right, so here's our Facebook ad copy. Here's the product name, price, landing page URL, which I didn't notice that because they were working concurrently, the landing page hadn't been done yet. So the agent couldn't insert the landing page URL there. Then we have our platform, and then it says here, replace landing page URL with the live URL once the landing page is deployed. Variant 1, frustration, or angle is frustration of doing everything yourself. Stop running your business alone. You didn't start a business to do every task yourself. Set up an AI agent team that writes code, builds pages, and runs marketing while you set direction. 12 chapters, zero fluff, $10. All right. You're doing the marketing, the dev work, etc., etc. Awesome. So it's given me a few hooks that I can use for my Facebook ad. And then similarly, if I go and check the Reddit ads, I'm guessing it's going to be the same story there. All right. Same product, price. The coherence is there, which is awesome. It's even telling me which subreddits to target. And then we have, again, few variations here. I'll link to all of these. I'll just dump them in a Google Drive. You can read them at your own leisure if you want. But this is pretty cool. So I think all of our tasks are almost complete. This is the last one here, which was blocked by these. So now I think I can tell the CMO that all of the blocked tasks are complete. So that's one way to do it. Maybe I can just go to issues, and this one is still showing blocked, the right Facebook ads and Reddit ads. I'm not sure why it's showing blocked. It says all 3 ad copy, deliverable drafted and written to disk. Head of design, please review asset requirements. CMO ad copy here. And this is the one. So maybe I'll just ask this CMO if it can continue this task. Looks like it's doing something here. And you can expand these commands to see exactly what it's doing. It's going to Claude Code, it's running Claude Code, and is essentially doing all this backend stuff so you don't have to worry about it. Whereas if you were doing this in Claude Code, you would be basically typing all of this yourself. And we can come back here and see that we are now at almost 20% of our usage for that 5-hour period. Let's go and see what's happening inside of this task. So we have the PDF that was done. Now, if I go back to issues, this one is still blocked. And then we have our CMO working on this one. All right, looks like all of our tasks are now complete. If I go to my inbox, I can see that this was the last one, which has now been completed. And then this gives me the full acceptance criteria. So here's our launch plan, pre-launch checklist, all deliverables reviewed, remaining items before launch, not blockers for this task is adding our GA4 measurement ID, which is our Google Analytics, set up the Gumroad product URL, host OG image and update. So it's given me all these next steps to do, which ideally we can just ask the AI agents to do. And that is actually going to be my next video. So we're not going to stop here. We're going to continue till I launch this dang product and see if it actually works. Is this all hype? I don't think so, because we can clearly see all of those files being created in my local folders. So I want to take this through the end. If you want to see me complete this, please put it in the comments so I know that someone out there is watching this and wants me to continue. I didn't want this video to be super long, so we'll stop here and pick this up in the next part. And there you have it, folks. That was part 1 of launching my digital product using Paperclip for selling Paperclip PDFs, which is the irony of this all. And with that, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And until next time, keep prompting.